Hello, my name is Ryan Amore, and I'm the instructional resource teacher at Mount Hope National Elementary School. I'm here to discuss with you the progression of multiplication up and through decimals. So, when we talk about multiplication, in third grade, we start to work on our basic facts. It's no longer what it used to be when we learned it, where we flip a piece of paper over and we go as fast as we can. We need the kids to understand why that works. So we use decomposing. So right here I have 8. 8 times 7 is not fun, but I know 5, I know 2, and I know 1. And when I add that up, that's the same as 8. Similarly, I know 5 plus 2 is 7. So your student may be familiar with 5s. They may be familiar with 2s or 1s. It doesn't matter. Whatever they're familiar with, what we want to do. So now I say I have 5 groups of 5, which is 25. 5 groups of 2, which is 10. 2 groups of 5, which is 10. 2 groups of 2, which is 4. 1 group of 5, which is 5. And 1 group of 2, which is 2. So when I add it all up, it'll give me my product. So 25, 35, 45, 50, 54, 56. So now I know 8 groups of 7 is 56. When we get into 4th grade, we start doing 2-digit by 3-digit, 2-digit, sometimes by 4-digit numbers. So for example, I'm going to use 24 groups of 12. Similar to 3rd grade, I'm going to break it down because I don't know 24 off the top of my head. So I'm going to use 10 plus 10 plus 2 plus 2, which gives me my 24. Up top, I'm going to say 10 plus 2, which gives me my 12. So now I set up my box, I set up my area model. And again, your students don't have to use these numbers. They can use numbers that are different as long as they're familiar with them. We want that familiarity. We want that understanding. So 10 groups of 10 is 100. 10 groups of 2 is 20. 10 groups of 10 is 100. 10 groups of 2 is 20. 2 times 10 is 20. 2 groups of 2 is 4. 2 groups of 10 is 20. And 2 groups of 2 is 4. So now I add it up again. And it's okay if your students need to write out the math on the side. That's totally fine. 100 plus 100 is 200. 220, 240, 260, 280, 284, 288. So now I have an understanding of why 24 groups of 12 is 288. Once we get into decimals, we start very basic by understanding what a decimal is. A lot of kids don't understand that it is a fraction of a number. So what is 2 groups of 8/10? So how do I solve this? I have 2 blank hundred charts that I printed right off the internet. If you don't have that internet capability home, you can take a sheet of paper and just draw some vertical lines. Then you can have it all set up. So in this case, I want to draw 8/10. So it's 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 8/10. So there's my 8/10. And it doesn't have to be pretty. I'm going to show you so the kids and myself can see what 8/10 is. So this whole thing is one whole, that's 8/10. Now I have a second one I got to use. There's my 8/10 again. So what is 2 groups of 8/10? It is 1 and 6/10. Well, how did I get that? If I look at my 200 charts, I'm going to take these 2/10 from this one. And if I move them over here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6/10 left. I have 1 whole and 6/10 left. So what does that look like when we start multiplying decimals by decimals, whole numbers? Let's take a model we're used to. So we've already used 24 and 12. Let's go ahead and make that 2 and 4/10. And we're going to multiply that by 1 and 2/10. So what is 2 groups, 2 and 4/10 groups of 1 and 2/10? So let's set it up. 2, 2/10, 2/10. So that gives me my 2 and 4/10. And on top, I'm going to say 1 and 2/10. So I have 2 groups of 1, just 2. I've had experience with this, so I know that 2 and 2 groups of 2/10 is 4/10. One group of 2/10 is 2/10. One group of 2/10 is 2/10. But what is 2/10 of 2/10? It can't be 4/10. We're talking fractions of that. So what I do is I use some multiplication. I go back to my hundreds chart. Let's draw what that 2/10 is. Here's 2/10, which is the same as 20 hundredths. But let's let the kids do it. And when I multiply that, I want to know what 2/10 of that group is. So I go this way, color my 2/10. So when I'm looking for what is 2/10 of 2/10, I have, right here, I'm going to color purple so it stands out a little better. I have 4/10, or 4 hundredths, I apologize, because there's 100 squares there and I have 4 of them colored in. So now, just like I did before, I'm going to add this up. 2 plus 4/10 is 2 4/10. 2 6/10, 2 8/10, 2 84 hundredths, 2 88 hundredths. And that is why we decompose. That is why we do what we do with the quote unquote new math. So what I would suggest to do is let the kids play, let them experiment a little bit. Is there a faster way? Is there shortcuts? Let them make those connections. Let's not force feed them their connections. Remember, the turtle won a race. There's no need for speed. So I wish you the best of luck with this. Play around and remember, mistakes are good. We learn from mistakes. Thank you for watching.